podcast starts now.
Wow.
Hello, esteemed listeners, and welcome to StraightioLab. We are so thrilled and honored that you are spending your, let's say, Wednesday at 3 p.m. listening to us.
Whether you're driving in your car to your next appointment or you're home naked from the bottom, only bottom naked, wearing a shirt, Winnie the Pooh style.
Recovering from your former appointment.
Walking around the house fully erect.
Sure.
Going into the kitchen, making a grilled cheese. Ouch, you got some hot oil on your bare bones.
If that is you, and we know you want to turn us off, but we appreciate you sticking with us through the pain, through the tears, through the crying and the screaming.
Just focus on our voice. Focus on our voice and not on the physical pain you feel from the scalding hot oil you accidentally got on your
bone.
On your butt bone that you got while making a grilled cheese. And because you were fully erect, your penis sort of knocked over the pan, and then the hot oil went onto your bone.
Yeah. So if this hasn't happened to you, just so you're clear, what happened to one of your fellow listeners is their penis knocked the pan that was full of hot oil, making a grilled cheese. Yeah. That pan hit the ground, causing the oil to splash up and hit their bone.
And for that listener, I have one message. And it is that, you know, it works better if you put mayo on the bread.
Oh my gosh, not cooking tips. Well, if you can hear our voices, we sound weird today.
Yeah, and by weird, we mean better.
Better, more calm, more professional.
And it's because we're back in Hell's Kitchen.
Letting the spirit run through us. Whenever we're in a studio space talking about the podcast while we make the podcast, it does make us sort of act like we're pretending to do a podcast, which is weird because most people, this is where they go to record a podcast. But for us, it always feels like, oh, today we're playing dress up. Today we're playing podcaster.
It's strange. Well, especially because we're in Hell's Kitchen, which is where all gay men work in marketing. Yeah. You know, when we're doing it over Zoom in our apartments, wearing sort of a ripped band tee. You know, it's punk rock. It's DIY. We're sort of, it's Courtney Love giving a middle finger to the camera.
Yeah, it's so Courtney Love.
Yeah, and whereas now we're sort of, it's more Kim Gordon, but like having a meeting about a brand partnership. Yeah. Not Kim Gordon during Rockstar era.
No, it's Kim Gordon appearing on NPR.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yes, she's talking about her punk rock days, and and listen, we love Kim Gordon. You know she's slaying. You know she has slayed in the past. But in the moment when she is wearing fully like a vintage blazer in a studio on NPR, that's not the most she's slayed.
No, but also I'm not here to say when she slayed the most. I'm here to just say that she has slayed and not rank the moments top 10. I'm not BuzzFeed.
I sort of want to know, like, how much does someone have to slay in order to slay for life?
How much does someone have to slay in order to slay for life?
I'm thinking about this because this is going to date when we're recording this. But, you know, today Gwen Stefani had a sort of embarrassing moment in the press. Have you seen this?
Uh-huh.
And Gwen Stefani is someone who, regardless of anything she did during that era, you know, when she was in No Doubt, she was slaying. That's something we have to acknowledge.
I would acknowledge that she was slaying within No Doubt.
And so how many years does she have to go not slaying in order to no longer be someone who slays?
Well, there's a lot of people like this. Like, this is literally the arc of fame, where it's like, how good do they have to be for you to forgive them being bad, bad, bad?
And I almost think, I mean, to bring it sort of back to Kim Gordon, it's almost like, and Patti Smith is like this too, like, almost the best thing you can do is as soon as you realize you're no longer slaying, just keep reminding people of the time you did slay. Because maybe Gwen Stefani's issue was that she kept trying to slay in different ways. And at some point, you're going to run out of ways.
You know what? Yeah. You're saying like her thirst for slay was like too insatiable that she ended up tearing herself apart.
Right. And at this point, when I think Gwen Stefani, I don't picture her wearing the, bikini top from the Hey Baby video.
Uh-huh. What do you picture?
I honestly picture her like with Blake Shelton.
I was going to say the same thing.
I picture her on The Voice or whatever show she's on. I picture her, honestly, I picture her literally getting interviewed by Jimmy Fallon.
Oh. Well, remember when she slayed?
Yeah.
Wow. Like, how do you, like, I actually think it's funny, when we started this podcast, we recorded in person, and we were almost doing, I remember doing like fake, like podcast references. Like I'd be like, what's up, what the fuckers?
Yeah.
And pretend that now that I'm here, I'm sort of like, I'm having an identity crisis.
Yeah. Well, it's suddenly the Kunst is me.
Yeah. It's like I've returned to where I was meant to be the whole time, but it feels different.
Well, yeah, it's sort of like when someone, I'm trying to think, who is someone known for being a jester, for being someone who makes fun of the culture, but then suddenly they find themselves being awarded by Barack Obama.
Sure. That's what we are.
You know what it reminds me of, actually?
What?
When, like when Eminem won an Oscar.
Sure.
And it's like, it's a losing battle to try to then win an Oscar wearing like a basketball jersey, or to win or like sort of do a speech as though you are both outside of it and inside. You have to either commit to ignoring the Oscars and releasing a statement that says, I'm Eminem, God damn it, and I only want to write songs about committing violence against women, and I hate the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna go there, it's sort of embarrassing if you don't go all the way. So now that we're in a studio, I'm like, the only way out of this is to be Terry Gross. You know what I mean?
Okay, we can do that. So George,
yeah,
when did you know that you were going to be a podcaster?
From a young age, I learned to speak, and I would do this thing where I would listen to my own voice. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I became aware of object permanence, I realized other people can't hear my voice, only I can.
So you've talked in other interviews about your mother trying to silence you. Mm-hmm. Tell me what that was like.
Yes, she would, when I would cry, she would say, stop crying.
I mean...
And that stays with you.
That's something you cannot forget.
You know, it's a way in which mothers of a different generation didn't realize that when a baby cries, it's because it wants to be a podcaster.
When a baby cries, it's a cry for help for a podcast setup.
Mm-hmm. It's a cry for help for a podcast setup, and it's also an empowering cry that says, here I am.
It says, what's up, what the fuckers?
Yes. But you know what? She's come such a long way. And now when I go home and I start crying like a baby, as soon as I enter my parents' house, I start crying like a baby. Goo goo gaga. I sort of throw bread against the wall. I open the fridge and just start throwing things away. I'm fully naked, running across the house, around the room, up and down the stairs. And now she knows, and she says, "Good for you."
Yeah. That must feel really good.
It feels really good, and it's gotten a lot of work to get there. You know, and yes, I've gotten the authorities involved. You know, for a while when she kept saying, "Why are you doing this? This is so inappropriate. We have guests over," I would call the police, and I would report her for creating an unsafe home for her children. At the time, I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
But, you know, everyone has to learn their lesson.
Yeah, so you have a book coming out, correct?
Yes, and it's about my relationship with my mother. And she does not like it.
She said, I can accept you as a podcaster, but as an author, I don't think so, honey.
Yeah. And, you know, yes, the book is a children's book with pictures, and it's marketed towards children. And yes, the pictures are, in fact, erotic
gosh, George,
of myself.
No.
Yeah. But to me, I'm like, okay, no one has ever done this before. People have written memoirs before. People have written books of humorous essays that are called, like, That's My Seat. But no one has ever done a children's book of erotic queer photographs of themselves.
No, that's true.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Dedicated to their mother.
Sure. Well, that's really powerful. I'm crying.
And that's all I have to say about that. So I think I'm ready to move on to the next portion of this evening.
Well, I think maybe we should invite our guest in.
And talk about someone who slays.
Talk about someone who's slaying and actually doesn't need to remind us that they're slaying because they're slaying.
I feel like this guest, I'm almost like, well, ever since I've met them, they have been slaying. And the fact that there could be some point in the future where they stop slaying and then we have to sort of grapple with that as a community fills me with so much fear that I can't even think about it.
I mean, that is the downside to slaying, is that sometimes it creates a when will the other shoe drop feeling.
Exactly, yes.
Like if someone's not slaying, you're not worried about them stopping slaying.
I know. Well, this is the sort of like catch-22. Well, I don't know if catch-22 is the right term, but
just run with it.
Okay. Well, this is the catch-22 is that
so this is sort of a Sophie's choice.
This is a Sophie's choice. This is, it's sort of like maybe the solution is to never slay to begin with.
Well, isn't there a saying about that? It's better to have slayed and flopped than to have never slayed at all.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I sort of think it's a very capitalist impulse to not slay as a form of self protection, where you're like, well, what if I flop? Whereas it's more communist to try to slay, knowing you might flop. And trust that the social safety net will catch you when you fall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense to me.
So anyway, please welcome Sabrina Wu.
Hi, everybody.
So Sabrina, before we started recording, we said, be careful, we're going to do a 10-minute intro. And you said, no, that's totally okay. The first part of a podcast is always the most excruciating. How did you feel about that?
Yeah.
I actually felt better than usual.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, and I really mean it.
No, I believe you.
And if anything, I was just like, what was so painful was like, I just wanted to jump in so much. Congratulations on your book. I hope you get a Newbery Award.
Yeah, a Newbery.
Yes, a Newbery.
Yes, I need it. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about.
That one is for the art specifically, which
okay.
Well,
I did
so
all the
specific.
illustrations myself, or the photography and the illustrations.
Oh, you illustrated.
Yeah. Well, so
it's mixed media.
Well, it's mixed media.
Wow.
So it's these really beautiful black and white photographs. Charcoal photographs. Yes, charcoal photographs. And then on top of them, I did a sort of Perez Hilton white little
dots.
Cum dots.
Yeah.
I love it. It's sort of. It's
that's what makes it a kid's book. It's sort of fun.
Right, and I love it when it's like, wait, it's actually like a picture within a. It's like you're looking like at a desk that they've. The photo is sort of, and then there's cum on.
Yes, exactly. And each book was made by hand from scratch, which is why it was sort of expensive to produce, and I'm in a lot of debt because of it. It's not. Why
did you make so many?
Yeah. Why did you make 1 million all on your own?
Well, because I want it to be a bestseller. What am I going to do? Sell one book?
Yeah.
That makes so much. Yeah.
Well,
the holidays are coming up.
Just around the corner.
So, if you're looking for a way to celebrate, what's in February or March?
Valentine's Day.
What a perfect gift to your child.
Yeah, for Valentine. If you want to give your child the perfect Valentine's Day gift, give your child the erotic book that I wrote containing my nudes.
You actually bring up an important point, which is, did you ever get like presents? Like, did your parents give you something on Valentine's Day?
No. That sounds sick. And I am publishing an inappropriate children's book.
No. In fact, I don't know if my parents are big present givers. My dad tried my freshman year of high school, and he was like, he gave me a ping pong paddle, which felt.
Oh.
But you didn't have a ping pong table.
No, we did, but it still felt racially charged, given that we weren't really. It's okay. It's okay. And no, but I think he wanted some bonding time, and then a neon green sweatband,
he wanted you to go pro.
Oh,
he definitely wanted you to work out.
No. He definitely did not, but I think he wanted me to look good.
I see.
Yeah,
well, he was sort of like, it's honestly pretty considerate to be like, well, if they're gonna play ping pong, they might as well slay doing it.
Yeah. I remember getting things, and no matter what it was, I would feel shame. I would be like, oh my God, my parents are in love with me.
Wait, they literally got you Valentine's Day gifts?
No, like candy even.
Oh, sure.
Or like I remember one time they gave me like a bag for like my track shoes,
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like fancy. It was just like, here's a thing, because it's a special day.
Well, here's what I'll say about Valentine's Day. As someone who, that's right, grew up in 2 different countries, something that always shocked me about Valentine's Day in America is how the kids were made to write each other Valentines.
Oh, yeah.
What a strange tradition, in my opinion. Like, you just write how did it work? You just wrote little cards that didn't even have anything. It was just like, from Sam to George, and then gave it to your classmate?
Yeah. But it was mostly like, we're friends.
Yeah, it was like heart-themed.
Yeah, it was
but
like
chaste.
And there was like, it was mostly like a heart-themed Halloween.
Okay.
Like, it's just like kind of candy exchanging.
Yeah.
And also it's sort of popularity contest because at a certain age, you don't have to give it to everybody.
Oh.
And so then you're like, oh, I got 100 Valentines. And then it's like, oh, I only got 10. And it's like, well, better luck next year. Learn to make a splash. Yeah, 5th grade's kind of hard. Grow up.
Oh my God, did it still happen in fifth grade?
I actually feel like it did.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I think it like went till middle school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it was like institutionally supported. It was,
Yeah, no, that's the
school
thing.
was like, I don't think 5th graders were like, if you were really into it, that's really.
No, I wasn't really I wasn't obsessed with it. I just knew it existed. Were you? What was your feeling towards it?
I was always, well, I think my school had a policy where you could not bring like, you couldn't only give to some people. It was for everybody, and I think I have like ADHD. I never remembered to bring anything for anyone. It was like a big like I take.
Well, that's
never
kind of,
really give.
That's kind of a power move, though.
Thank you. It was to get back.
Yeah,
and all the other social suffering.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sort of crazy to think like that you were forced by the powers that be to give a Valentine to like someone who may have bullied you or someone who you disagreed with politically.
Well, I think it was what's that, toxic positivity, where they were almost hoping that it would like make everyone get along and be like, if you can just give them a card that says like thinking of you.
But on the other hand, it is sort of like, you know, it's poly-inclusive. It is, you know, everyone is in love with everyone in 5th grade. You're not, and Valentine's Day is such a individualistic, like either you're in a couple or you're not sort of holiday as soon as you turn 18. But it's nice that for a while there, we all just lived in a sort of, Swedish commune.
Yes, it was very beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved my 5th grade polycule.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll never forget any of them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, anyway, Sabrina, how are you?
I'm great. This was the highlight of my day. Or this
my
was,
God.
Yeah, the focal point of it. So
That's incredible.
That's incredible. So, George, you're right now. Do you want to talk about that?
No, we're cutting that.
We can pivot to me.
Yeah.
Would that be so crazy?
No, and it's not because I didn't give enough, right?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's because Sam asked the forbidden question. In fact, you know what we'll do is we'll beep it and then we'll just like reference it as the forbidden question.
Yeah. Well, I guess I first want to apologize for asking the forbidden question.
Yeah. Well, there's only one topic that is off limits on this podcast.
Yeah. And it's tough because, you know, we're sort of, like you said, punk rock, Lower East Side, 1970s, CBGBs. And I thought, okay, so I can say anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, George is doing, you know, boners, burning bones,
Exactly.
and children's stuff. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's see what else. Let's see where else we can push the envelope here.
To me, everyone can have one forbidden question. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, you know, like celebrities that don't want to talk about a specific thing. It's like, if you're Tom Cruise, your one thing can be that you don't want to talk about Scientology. But that's it. You can only have one forbidden question.
So we should ask him about his sexuality.
We should exactly. That is yeah. And if he doesn't want us to ask about his sexuality, then he has to talk about being a Scientologist. You can't have it both ways.
Wow. Do you have a forbidden question that we're not allowed to ask
By
you?
definition, I don't know if they would be able to do that.
No, I'm an open book. You can ask me anything you want.
That's a trap.
No, I'm serious. Like, ask me anything. This
What
is your
do you
chance.
think is the worst question one of us could ask
I
you
can't
right
believe
now?
you asked me that. Oh my God! Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
like, if you ask me what my thoughts are on representation, I actually like glitch out and like spiral.
Yeah.
Like, thinking.
What? And I hate to now harp on this. What sort of specific like part of the representation conversation would you be most unwilling to talk about?
Yeah, craft the worst possible question.
And we won't
ask it back.
We won't ask it back.
It's sort of
Like, you're in a podcast, two white gays are
They're just like us, but uglier.
yeah, exactly. Two white gays that are just like us but uglier and sort of
Inside and out.
and dumber.
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, you know what? It's sort of like if I am an actor,
Yeah.
is making like representation for my own like groups that I'm a part of,
Yeah.
like really like good for the world and like morally significant? Like as a like, does it make like me like an amazing person if I'm like? But it just depends. Like, okay, do you know what I'm saying? Just sometimes it's just like a little, okay, I feel like I'm being crazy right now.
You are not being crazy.
You're not being
Sam
crazy.
is vibrating.
To me,
Sam is buzzing.
The question is like, and maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe this is not what you're touching on, but it's like, there's a way to frame those questions where the only possible way to answer feels self-important and moralistic. So it's almost like the person setting you up for a trap, where they're like, do you feel like the work you do is important? And you can't be like, well, no.
But you also can't be like, actually really important, right?
Yeah. Right.
Is that what you're saying?
A little bit of that. And this is what I'm saying. When you ask me this, I become completely incoherent.
Okay.
My brain
Wait, but I actually
down.
love that. And actually that is a better reason to have a forbidden question than something you actually don't want to talk about, because I agree with you is that the topics people are most interested in often are the ones that have the most nuance, and therefore the ones you don't want to talk about in like a live podcast format.
Absolutely.
It's very save it for the book.
Save it for the book. Exactly.
Have you ever done something sort of interview-based and then asked them not to release it?
No.
I have.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I did Greta Teitelman's previous podcast. It was called The Worst, I believe, where you talked about like the worst moment of your life or like a bad moment of your life or something. And I talked about like the nitty-gritty details of a breakup. And I got home and I was like, what was that? Like, in what world did I think I would then feel comfortable with that being like in the Apple Podcast app for life? And I texted Greta, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, absolutely don't release that.
Wow. Yeah. Was she okay with it?
Yeah. I mean, listen, maybe behind my back, she was DMing, texting every other member of the Brooklyn comedy scene and was like, this dumb fag George doesn't want me to release his episode. But no, she was incredibly nice about it. And I think it's like, and thank God she was.
And thank God.
Because now I sold it as a book.
Yay. Do you guys want to know my forbidden question?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's where were you on January 6th, 2021?
Wow. And with that, should we do our first segment?
Yes, we should. Okay, Sabrina, our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in it we ask you a series of rapid-fire questions to gauge your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture, especially this thing or this other thing, and the only rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions.
Great. Great.
Okay, Sabrina. Gentleman's Quarterly or Lady Marmalade?
Lady Marmalade.
Drag him. Okay, Hulk Hogan or Cat Cohen?
Oh my God, Cat Cohen.
That is an incredible question. Okay, Madam X or Mr. Magoo?
Mr. Magoo.
Okay, your chosen family or your chosen financial plan at Morgan Stanley?
Anything but chosen family.
Okay, Sabrina. A gendered Happy Meal toy or a rendered image of what New York would look like with more inclusive urban design?
Chosen Happy Meal so I can say it out loud.
Okay, Lost AirPods or The Last Airbender?
Last Airbender.
Okay, Friday the 13th, Sunday Bloody Sunday, or Wednesday, now streaming on Netflix?
Oh.
Wednesday streaming on Netflix.
Okay, Puss in Boots or Venus in Furs?
Huh. Venus in Furs.
Why not?
It's kind of crazy that there's a children's character named Puss in Boots.
I know.
There's a sort of way in which this is a sort of horseshoe theory of gay culture and children's culture where it's sort of like Puss in Boots could either be like a really inappropriate drag queen or it could be a cat wearing boots.
Yeah. And thank God it's the latter.
And thank God it's the latter. Otherwise I would have to vote Republican. Wow.
Well, I just want to say, I think you did incredible. I think I'm going to say 900 doves.
We rate each guest on a scale of 0 to 1,000 doves. And I agree. It was a 900 doves performance.
Yeah, there was a cool confidence there.
900 doves?
Yeah.
Where did I lose the other 100 doves?
Yeah. I mean, do you want to hear the critique or?
Yes. Yes.
Sam, you can go first.
Okay, first of all, you had sort of a knowing confidence, and we really loved that about your performance. But there was sort of a dismissiveness to the questions that we just worked so hard on. And yeah, so I felt like that was sort of where we docked some doves.
Well, that wasn't the tone I was trying to strike. I was really trying. I mean, I really respect you too. You know, I even listened to a couple episodes.
You know, Sabrina, it's like we gave you 900 doves, which is a very good score. On, you know, there's no denying it.
It's not a perfect score. It's not. Sorry.
But, you know, to focus on the negative like this and suddenly make us justify our score that we selected completely arbitrarily on our podcast.
This is why you're never going to slay so hard. How do you think I've gotten this far?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, I do think there's something about being complacent. And I think a lot of times, sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's good. You know how people are like, practice gratitude, like be happy for what you have? Like, what if that's wrong? Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I love my like little Bushwick apartment and I love my like simple life. And
no,
then it's like,
you have
wait,
to move
that's
to
bad.
Malibu. No, Sam, you have to leave that apartment ASAP.
I need to like go into like major debt so that I have to work really, really hard to get out of it.
100%. And I do want to say one thing about your performance, Sabrina, is that the fact that I'm now realizing the fact that you challenged the 900 doves sort of makes it 1,000 doves.
That's true.
Because I think the fact that you knew not to challenge us when we told you not to ask questions, but then as soon as that part of it was over, you immediately were like, well, I want to see the paperwork. I want to see the receipts. Why didn't I get 1,000? And then we honestly didn't have a good enough answer for you. So the fact that you exposed us for the frauds we are means that you are winning a Pulitzer Prize in journalism, and the prize is 1,000 doves.
Wow, this is actually a really important lesson to all the children who are listening to this podcast.
No, it's true.
Because in high school, I used to, just like be really negative on myself. Yeah. Every time I, got like a 9 out of 10 on it, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, it's me. But then there were always a bunch of kids that would go back to the teacher and be scary, just like the way I was to you. Really scary. Yes. And then the next thing you know, they have a 4.3 GPA.
Messed up.
It's really like, honestly, one of the most important lessons in life is to know when to challenge authority and when to sneakily not challenge authority so you can build up more challenging power later on. If you had sort of responded to each one of our straight shooters with like, fuck off, then like at the end you would have no more leeway. Like we would have no more patience for your challenging and you would have no leeway to challenge your score, which would at that point be like a sort of 100.
And it's true. Every time you asked me a question, my brain was like, not now.
Yeah, exactly. Because you were like, what if later I will need to challenge
Right,
them?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if you had responded to every single one yelling at us, fuck off, I would have to stand, unfortunately.
God, that's true. I mean, it's really tough because we are, on the one hand, authority figures. On the other hand, we ourselves are kind of Kim Gordon. So it is difficult when we respect the challenging of authority. Yeah. So it's always like by challenging authority, you're in fact pandering to us.
I do think we create a toxic environment by like, we reward people being bad.
Yeah.
And we actually need to reward people who are being good.
Yeah. Have you ever been
I'm
in
good. I'm so good.
Do you feel like you would do well as an authority figure?
No, I actually like actively like avoid positions of authority. Like,
and you've been asked.
Oh, all the time. No. Well, not later in life because but I think like when I was like in high school and college, I was, especially high school, I was always like, no, let me be captain of the team. But I was dropping, I was dropping balls left and like, not like basket, like,
yeah.
Like, like metaphorically.
Metaphorically,
like,
of course.
I'm like, the team dinners, like, if I didn't have like, if there wasn't so much like, you need to, sorry that I sound like such an ass. You know what
You do not sound like an asshole.
Okay, great. But there's like a lot of pressure, like, everyone should be a leader. Everyone should be a leader. And you have it in your head and you're like, okay, like, I don't think I should be a leader, but I'll do it because that feels like who I'm supposed to evolve to. But later in life, I've been like, I just fail everyone around me every time I do it. I can't do it anymore.
This is such a rich topic, and I honestly think like leadership could be a straight topic on the podcast because it's almost like what replaced religion when society became secular. It's this obsession with leadership. It's like if Jesus is dead, someone else has to step up.
I mean, leadership also and business go so hand in hand.
Yes, but also when you were a teen, did you have sort of like leadership camp or like leadership program?
I never went to one, but yes, I remember seeing those.
It's like the best thing you could be told at 12 years old is that you're a leader. Not what are you leading? What if you're leading like QAnon? What if you're literally leading the charge for the insurrection? I mean,
I bet a lot of them were 12-year-old leaders.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, certainly cerebrally. It's just like, it's crazy. The fetishizing leadership, it's the same as fetishizing like business success, where it's like, well, okay, A, at what cost? B, to what end?
Yeah.
Those are the forbidden questions in our society.
Wow. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, it's very like, okay, but leading what? Like, we don't want to just lead anything.
Yeah. Did you all have the like, they did sort of within the framework of leadership offer something for those who were not leaders, and it was, you know what's even more powerful than being a leader? Being the first follower. That was like...
Wow. Did they say that?
Yeah. It was a big thing. It was like, and they even have this like viral video. I'm butchering this, but in my head it exists as there's a bunch of sheep, and like one sheep goes this way, right? But it takes the second sheep for then the rest of the sheep to... You know what I mean? Like anyone, the idea was like anyone can be a leader, but to discern, who the group should follow.
That's fascinating.
At least that was like I think that kids were a little bit shyer.
That's what I was going to say. First sheep is tastemaker.
First sheep is tastemaker. Wow. Is it? Okay, now I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Am I against the tastemaker sheep? Like, do I think that's a sort of toxic framework, or do I actually love that? Because if the tastemaker sheep is queer coded, in fact, don't you think? Like the leader is straight. The leader is Barack Obama. Yeah. But the tastemaker sheep is, will.i.am writing the Obama song.
No, unfortunately, I idolized the tastemaker sheep. I remember following the tastemaker sheep on Twitter in like 2012 and just being so influenced by tastemaker sheep. And
you're so right.
So I feel very like I just hope to someone that I am the tastemaker sheep.
I know. To be the tastemaker sheep actually is such a powerful position in culture, I'm now realizing. And to go back to the conversation about slaying, it's like at some point the tastemaker sheep loses their taste-making abilities. Like they either get too old to be in touch with the culture, and I'm not saying that in an ageist way, but just sort of like they get out of touch, let's say.
Yeah.
They snap and become reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
Or they misunderstand their own position and think they're a leader rather than a tastemaker sheep, and so they start making like merch. And it's like, well, you just run an Instagram account that curates TikToks.
And so, that's where the tastemaker sheep starts falling off for me. The Instagram accounts that just curate TikToks.
Well, and I think that the framework would then say, those are the third, fourth, and fifth followers. Those are not a first follower.
So an Instagram that curates TikToks can never be the tastemaker sheep. That's sort of fourth, fifth, sixth.
Right? Because they're usually reposting a video that's already viral. It's
wow, that is very
true. That's really true. Yeah. They're literally like the 1 millionth sheep.
Okay, so it goes leader, tastemaker, curator.
The more we're talking, I'm sure this video wasn't of sheep, but it's
Sabrina,
for you.
Sabrina, the way it has been canon now for it might as well be years.
No, like the merch is being made.
The idea that you think there was any going back from this is laughable.
Like I'm actually seeing all the sheep, and honestly, I'm realizing that it's kind of a danger because we're going to be having our listeners counting sheep in their head, and they're going to be falling asleep.
No, 100%. And it's right, it's like leader, tastemaker, curator, leader, tastemaker, curator. You're counting the sheep.
They're like, okay, so there's 17 sheep in the creative world.
I'm sorry, but not to go back to children's books, this is a genius idea for a children's book. And it actually like so perfectly describes our contemporary society. Like to have, it's like the three sheep. One is a leader, one is a tastemaker, one is a curator. Which one do you want to be? And each person has It's the 3 personality types.
Oh my God, this is going to end up in it's going to be a company personality test.
Yeah.
It already feels very Myers-Briggs.
It is.
Wow. Do you respond well to things like that, where it's like there's 3 types of people, there's 4 types of people? Like, is that something that compels you?
It's something that all right, honestly, if I take a little bit of Adderall, I will be doing that for 12 hours
totally.
straight.
Sure.
But it's not I'm sort of always oh no, I'm glitching out again. Maybe this is a forbidden question. I'm It's just sort of I can never talk about feeling there's some truth, and it's also totally fake in the sense that you're telling a machine,
right,
and then it's spitting back exactly what you just told it and reducing what you just said.
But even not a test, but sort of a framework that is your own, the idea of introvert versus extrovert, where it's you get your energy from being around people, or you get your energy from being alone, or the idea of, or even astrology, is it a comforting thing to put yourself in a box?
I have the most embarrassing tale regarding this, which is, this podcast, like I said, it's edgy, it's punk rock, it's 1970s CBGB, Debbie Harry. And we've always mocked sort of people that really lean into the introvert extrovert thing.
100%.
And it's sort of been yeah, we get it. But recently I was around people for a long time, and I physically got sleepy in a way that was I think I'm an introvert.
I've always sort of thought you were an introvert.
And this is shocking to me because I was no, I don't believe in it. Everyone's everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm oh no, I believe in it so hard, and I actually think I know where I fall.
Do you want to know what was a game changer for me? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sabrina.
I'm just actually feeling brave. I'm feeling like your first follower. The truth is that I actually also recently really started to identify as an introvert, and have really needed it to not feel crazy, and especially in comedy. There's way too much there's way too many social dynamics, and something about being oh, I really just who I am. My natural baseline is not the same as these other people. And it's just it's nice. You don't beat yourself up about
totally
whatever.
No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Vulnerable moment.
Wow.
But agreed, it's cringe a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay.
I recently had a moment of deep connection to something I read, a categorization schema that I read.
Oh.
And this is in the book Pure Color by Sheila Heti. And it sort of starts out it's almost like you're reading a biblical fairy tale or something in the beginning. And it identifies 3 types of people: bears, birds, and fish. The birds see the world from a remove, and they're sort of the cultural critics of the world. They're not making, intimate personal connections, but sort of seeing the world at a remove and making grand aesthetic and artistic judgments. Then there are the fish, which are sort of they care about social justice. They care about everyone equally, and they care about equality and things like that. And then there are the bears, who would develop personal connections, and they sort of can care deeply about 1 to 4 people. They develop intimate connections. And I was this is actually a better framework than a lot of the things out there. Would you say you're a fish, bear, or bird?
I have no idea. I'm still mulling it over.
Yeah. Well, we can check in at the end of the episode.
You don't think that wait, which one's the one that has no close friends?
So
which one's the loser?
Bird is imagine
too many friends.
Susan Sontag. She's at a remove. She's judging society almost from outside of it.
Oh, interesting.
But then fish are care about everyone equally and want social justice and equality.
And bears
are mother. Bears are a really caring friend that has thrives in intimate personal relationships rather than big picture.
Which one are you?
I mean, I think I might be bird.
This is kind of...
That's the scariest one.
I know.
That's really scary. I mean, I could see you as bird. That
I mean, by the way,
for
I
me.
do develop intimate relationships
because you have no friends.
It's
so
not that I don't have friends, but it's sort of I do feel my instinct often is to try to a fault almost, like try to think big picture and try to like, I don't know, come up with a diagnosis for what I'm seeing.
Sure. I'd see that. This reminds me of the representation question a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there feels like no way to pick one without being self-aggrandizing.
100%. Yeah.
And
because all of them are good. I mean, either you are an iconic cultural critic, or you care about social justice, or you are like a really good friend, daughter, son, parent.
Yeah.
I have a reading on the fish one that isn't like, I don't not care about social justice,
Sure.
but I'm not saying this as somebody who's like the most like, you know, I would never, whatever. Okay. But I think I am a fish in the sense that like, I actually cannot like, there are so many people I defend that I don't like, that are not close to me.
Yes.
Or that are even
100%.
like problematic, like controversial figures like within a community that everyone else is like, you know, like I really think like, I think a lot about like, is this fair and like really, I don't know.
But I almost think that's a bird impulse.
Really?
Yeah, because you're like doing critical analysis. Like I feel like fish is simpler. It's like wanting everyone to be equal. It's like not caring more about someone who's closer to you than you do about someone on the street. Like it's a sort of equalizing thing. Whereas what you're doing, I think, is like critical analysis. What do you think?
Dang.
I don't know.
I think I don't get what the bird is up to.
And
Right.
to piggyback off that, why is the fish social justice? Like that seems like an oversimplification. Like I guess I'd have to read the book to sort of see how we got there.
Sure.
I think that could help inform.
Yeah.
Like because the bird, I get like visually why they're removed and why they're seeing the world in this way.
I think fish, think of like a school of fish all moving together. You know, it's like more collectively minded.
Oh, okay, sure. I think I'm either fish or bear, but I don't know which.
Oh.
Wow. I feel like such a bitch for identifying as a bird.
Yeah, well, your tweets say you are.
All right, well, should we get into our topic?
Yeah.
So, Sabrina.
Yeah.
I would love it with all my heart if you would tell us what topic you have brought forth today for this episode.
Sure. And I'm actually going to try to move faster through my sentences.
There is no reason to move faster or slower.
I need to get 1,000 doves on this whole episode. Sorry. Okay. I wanted to talk about homoeroticism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sort of the topic it's sort of the umbrella topic.
Yeah, that is essentially what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Is that. So what led you to homoeroticism? What was your way into that?
Totally. Thank you.
As a straight topic.
Well, as I was like trying to come up with something straight to talk about, I was gonna like talk about anime and then which I think is, some people think of as pretty queer, but I have a pretty strong like I don't think so. Like,
oh, interesting.
The women
in
anime are have a very flat personality and the largest tits I've ever seen, even if they're the strongest fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Point. Yeah. Right. So, but the sort of pause is like, well, you know, it's very homoerotic. Like a lot of these characters are sort of, but it's like the fact that there is this sort of concept of homoerotic, right? Like if it were homosexual,
totally,
that would be gay. But alas, it's homoerotic.
Yes.
It's like, what we're saying is it's so close, but it's actually not. And who even wants that?
Exactly.
Other than, you know what I mean? There's even closeted. Closeted, that's for gay, like that concept. And that's pretty homosexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
No,
you're making actually so much sense. It's insane.
Homoeroticism is like...
It's the straightest thing you can be because it is saying this is not... It's literally no homo. It's saying this is not gay.
I love the making them mutually exclusive. Homoeroticism and homosexuality, I think, is one, very funny, and two, very... I see the truth in that. The anime point about like the women's huge tits and flat personalities, there is an element to that where it's like, were these made by gay men? Like,
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see misogyny out in the wild, you always have to ask yourself, is this gay misogyny or straight misogyny?
Okay, I'm so
often
glad
the result is pretty similar.
It's like, well, she is slaying.
Right.
But did she want to slay that way?
Is she a sexual object or is she an
iconic
object?
No, I think you're imagining these women like a little bit too powerful. Like they are sort of like.
Yeah. Do you think Lara Croft is gay? She's an iconic object.
She's iconic.
Is she an anime? She's
no,
like,
she's not. But
she's a video.
Yeah,
she's a video game.
But I'm just thinking about other sort of like
totally.
exaggerated fictional animated or animated adjacent women who famously have giant breasts.
Okay. So
homoeroticism. How would we define homoeroticism? I think maybe that's a good place to start.
So it's two guys, 2 to 4 guys.
Yeah. First of all, it can be women.
Okay, this is the first I'm hearing of this.
Like, Sam, women can be homoerotic to one another.
I'm listening and I'm learning.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a group of people.
Yeah.
And just to say, as a non-binary person, non-binary people cannot be homoerotic.
Homoerotic.
Like, you're never like, this is, you'd be like, no matter where they lean, you're like, that's gay. That's really...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of how, it's in that way you are breaking the ultimate binary between homoeroticism and homosexuality.
Yeah.
Wow. Something to think about.
To
me, it's like, it is the hint of everything but anal. It is like the hint. It is hinting at homosexuality, hinting at same-sex attraction.
Sure.
But is it something more than that?
I mean, don't we refer to like those weird old Greek art paintings that are like 2 guys like truly going at it? Does that not count as homoerotic?
Well, that is a very good question, because you do see actually like a truly 3 guys having full-on sex.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, this is so homoerotic.
And I'm like, no, I think it's a little more than that.
That's actually porn.
But
nice try, sweetie.
It is straight people who are going homoerotic.
Yeah,
gay
exactly.
people will be like, oh my God.
That's true.
Well, accusations of homoeroticism can almost be weaponized both ways, because straight people can look at something fully gay and be like, wow, I guess that's a little homoerotic. And then they're like straight washing it. But then gay people can look at like, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and be like, that's homoerotic. It's like, well, no, you're like trying to make it gay.
Right, they're just friends.
Yeah.
I think.
Huh. We don't know.
Maybe that's their forbidden question.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of like the fact that Ben Affleck's most lasting relationship is with Matt Damon, and then he sort of is dating an iconic pop star, Jennifer Lopez. Sure. It's kind of gay.
That's really gay, actually.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, thoughts on like queer baiting and how that was like sort of my thought on the subway, like how it fits into all of this.
Talk about a forbidden question.
Oh, God.
Like, don't you think it is impossible? Like, the concept of queer baiting is one of those things that I don't think I could form a coherent thought about.
The way that is a circle always when people start talking about it, I'm always like, oh, no.
Because my instinct, to be honest, is to almost be like, that is sort of Tumblr bullshit. And I don't care about it. Like, it literally does not make a difference to me that Timothée Chalamet is playing a gay person.
Yeah.
Or sorry, which I realize is like that's different than queer baiting, or that Timothée Chalamet is wearing a bra on a red carpet.
Oh, totally. Or Harry Styles.
Or Harry
like the
Styles,
most famous,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, of course, someone does toe the line too much, and then I do become upset.
Who toes the line too much?
Not toes the line, but like, I mean, I think Harry Styles is a good example. It's difficult to talk about this while also being like, I actually don't like. None of this is morally important. It's just annoying. Don't you think? Like, I think it is. Yeah. I think you can be like, it is annoying and it makes me roll my eyes when Harry Styles is like, I've never identified as anything.
Right.
When he's dating Olivia Wilde. But that doesn't mean I think he should be arrested.
No, I don't think he should be murdered. I think he should be allowed to put out more music if he wants to.
Yeah. And by the way, talk about homoeroticism. I think if you're gonna queer bait, go all the way. Like, I love that Bruce Springsteen like makes out with I'm forgetting his name. If you know, you know. He makes out with like a male member of his band, like, and it's like a thing that people know about, and he will like kiss him while they're on stage.
Oh, I love that.
Or like, who's the guy from Arctic Monkeys? Alex Turner. He has like this other group, and they always are like being intentionally like caressing each other's like pecs on stage. And it's like everyone knows about it and it's fun and they're like almost making out. And I'm sort of like, well, that's fun. And that's more fun to me than Harry Styles just wearing a dress.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I also break down, but this one, and not to be so serious, but like the only thing that gives me pause, because I generally also find it like annoying, it's just like, I don't know, like, it's also a lot like to like what's the alternative, like given a world where like Harry is like even like genderqueer or like it's just like when you're that famous, I feel like the stakes are insane, and to ask somebody to be like overtly gay, it's like obviously like
see.
I'm sort of like, and that's why I break down. Well, that's why I just jump ship from this question, because I'm like, I don't think queer baiting conceptually is great. I just think that like queer baiting in a vacuum is not great, but like pushing somebody to like never seem gay unless you're ready to fully commit to being openly gay, especially as like a world, like in a world where there is so much like violence and hate, YouTube is scary. I'm sort of like, yeah, like do it. Like, does that make sense? Like the danger of queer baiting is like, it's very hard to tell if somebody is queer baiting or just like trying to navigate kind of
as like a 24-year-old or whatever, whatever age Harry Styles is. Yeah. Well,
did I ruin this podcast?
No, you didn't ruin it. You didn't ruin it. I think
I think we're at 800 dubs now.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think this. I mean, we're at
this is like an important topic.
Full of people being like, I don't know.
But I think it's almost like it's almost like weird that we haven't discussed the concept of queer baiting on the pod, because it seems so relevant to our interests.
It seems so easy to be like to come off as ignorant when talking about this, because I am more like, ugh, like this is so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, like. If you're gonna be gay, and if you're not, then not. Or like, even say like I'm questioning or something. Like there is a label. You
totally.
Like there are labels for a reason. And some people, like Harry Styles, it seems like there's, I don't know. It seems like there's some authentic part of him that like wants to explore something, and I celebrate that. And if not, then this boy cuckoo. And. But then there's like, who's really bad at it? Like Charlie Puth. Like I feel like he's one that it's like he's just trying to like get gay guys to like him.
Okay, that is so funny that you say that, because I prefer Charlie Puth's brand of queer baiting. Because what Charlie Puth will do is just post a picture of his ass and then have a funny caption. It's like, well, there's my ass. Whereas what Harry Styles will do is launch a line of gender-neutral clothing for Gucci. and to me, I actually prefer Charlie Puth just posting a photo of his ass. Like that actually feels, regardless of whether he literally he's like sitting back there in his lair and is like, I'm gonna get these gay guys to press like on this. Even if it's completely inauthentic, whatever, it feels at least fun and spontaneous in a way that like Harry Styles launching a brand of nail polish does not.
Sure. That makes sense.
And I feel like the best sort of like non-gay, you know, when I think of like Prince, or when I think of like, I don't know, other people that have played with gender over the years without necessarily be like coming out and being like, I'm gay. It's that it comes from a place of like fun rather than a place of like calculated branding.
And profit. Yeah. So if you want to explore with your presentation or your sexuality, go for it.
Yeah.
But don't you make a damn dime until I'm rich.
Sabrina, if you were to launch a brand that that targeted the LGBTQ plus community, what sort of product do you think you would launch?
Oh my God. I would get lesbians like a hat that cannot go backwards.
Wow.
Is that okay to say?
No,
yes, I can say it.
Well, this is always the question: is how do you enforce that?
Right. Well, it would start like making a noise when it was turned the other way. It would just be like
maybe there's like a weight in it where it's like this, like you could spin it around as much as you want, but the bill always moves to the front.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yes.
Like maybe it's like a magnet.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yes, it could be done with magnetic properties.
Wait, I'm actually going to do this in my lifetime.
No, that's perfect.
Oh, I think that's genius.
And you agree, like, there's something about...
That is not our place to say, Sabrina.
You're
and if that's how
right.
you feel, then absolutely, like, make that pronouncement on our podcast. But you're not going to trick us into agreeing with you that lesbians should not wear backwards hats.
It's not even like that. It's just... And I love every lesbian. Not all equally, clearly, but like...
Yeah, well, you're not a fish.
Right, I'm unfortunately the bird.
You're a bird. You're a bird in the sense that you're like, why are all these lesbians wearing backwards hats?
Well, it's just that, I guess, like, if I had to say my preference, like, I prefer lesbians. I think of lesbians on a spectrum.
Right.
There are the backwards hat
Beautiful.
lesbians.
Backward hats lesbians.
Right.
Okay.
Did you say beautiful?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just love
I
the
did.
spectrum.
Oh, well, we love a spectrum on StraightioLab.
Lesbians in their backwards hats who, when I see them in the audience of a stand-up show, I'm scared. Like, I'm
Right.
actually scared that they will... Okay. And then on the other side of the spectrum, a lot of them, honestly, it actually gets buyer on this side. But it's the turtleneck, big pants kind of... And I generally sort of...
Lipstick lesbians?
Not lipstick.
Okay.
No. There's, in fact, no lipstick.
No
actively
lipstick.
chapstick. Like,
Mm.
like it's that... But it's like, it's the Tumblr hoe, but not even, like, it can be just more like a lit, like a quiet, meek, lit kind of
okay,
lesbian.
I see. Okay, yeah.
Versus, like, loud, sporty.
Got it.
Right.
It's Rooney Mara and Carol. No? Is that the actress?
Yeah, no, that
cool
is the
you
actress.
Watch Carol. I just don't...
Yeah, thank you.
I'm
yeah.
like, so you're saying Tumblr thought, your words.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, Tumblr thought on this side, and I kind of don't really love... Like,
Sporty backwards hat on one side, Tumblr thought on the other.
Right,
side.
and I'm sort of caught in between both worlds. Like,
Right.
in terms of, like, I love, like, or I don't, like, read a lot, but I did play, like, a lot of sports. Like,
Right.
But there's just something about, like, the backwards hat where I'm just sort of, like, to me, there's a lot less, like, let's think about queering the world. It's a lot of, like, I love women. I love drinking my beers.
Totally.
And I guess and it's not even, like, every lesbian with a backwards hat is like that, but they are perpetuating that culture because that is a symbol of that kind of thing.
It's a hate symbol.
Yes, with equal weight as any other wow, I don't know any other symbols that are
Oh, you can't think of
hateful.
one.
Let's see.
Like,
what other
equal to a
symbols? I mean, wow.
Put that.
Wow,
Try to bleep that out.
If you're a lesbian wearing a backwards hat, you might as well be wearing a.
You actually have to cut that out, George.
All right.
Can you just bleep it?
We'll bleep.
Everyone
we'll
can
bleep
use
it.
their imagination about, sort of what symbol came to my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Wow, a lot of bleeping this
pretty
episode.
special.
Yeah, this is really maybe we should advertise it even as like StraightioLab censored like never
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Sabrina, do you feel like when a lesbian... I'm not even going to ask how you're going to police that these hats only be worn by lesbians. I'm just going to assume there is a framework in mind. But let's say they're only worn by lesbians. Is your goal for the person who wears this hat to then sort of be led to self-reflection? They try to turn it around. It doesn't go around. And then they're like, wait a minute, what am I trying to do by turning my hat around?
Exactly. Like when you try to turn around, it says things like "don't say shoddy" or "don't don't if you're white." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Tie your shoes.
It's actually specifically maybe for white and Asian lesbians,
Oh,
or like
okay.
you know what I mean? Like light skinned
I
lesbians
see.
cannot. You know what I'm trying to avoid? It's what is that called? Like a hey mama lesbian. I want to. It's not eugenics, because I'm not like killing them.
No.
But I am sort of like, I think there should be fewer. I think there should be fewer,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that's not who lesbians are, like, at their core.
You can put one of those types of lesbians in a museum,
Totally.
and then the others will change.
Just inside the glass with, oh man, no one's
Yeah.
gonna see this, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
If I were to describe what Sabrina's doing, I would say imagine the emoji that's biting his lip.
Yeah.
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 That is sort of the vibe. That's the kind of lesbian vibe that you're talking about. Yes. I can picture it so well. And in fact, the biting of the lip is even more evocative than the backwards hat in some ways.
I mean, the way that you've painted a picture, I wish there was video. I feel I know this person, you know?
So yeah. Well, you know someone who used to be one. I used to wear a
You used to be that?
Really?
I mean, I was never a hey mama lesbian. There's no part of me that could, you know.
Yeah.
Did you say shoddy?
No, but I was so close. Like,
did you?
But I definitely wanted to. I was like, I really want to ask my girl out to prom, and I learned how to dance. And when she would like
saying my girl, or even like, God forbid, my lady.
Right, never my lady.
No.
And never said my girl out loud, but definitely thought that way. You know what I mean? Like internally, I was like, why is she going to prom with that guy? Like, I'm just as good at sports as him, and I can dance. Like, I'm so good at dance. Like, you know, it's just like, whatever.
Maybe
like,
she knew that he was a really good leader.
He wasn't! I was a good leader.
Wow.
I thought you were dropping balls.
Oh, I was.
Oh, my God. Call back.
Wow, I'm, like, really learning a lot about how does that happen to you where you're, like, as you age, you're, like, your conception of your earlier self, like...
Oh,
and then as you talk, you're like, wait, I don't know what I think of how I was. Like,
it's hard to create a succinct narrative. And like we talk about how we both think of ourselves as like we were really good boys, and so now we kind of feel like we can be really bad and be like, well, everyone knows we're good boys.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, no, like it's kind of like you can slay and then you can stop slaying, but for how long until people just.
But in terms of being a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a family framework, slaying means being a good boy. But I've talked about this before, but to me, the episode of 30 Rock where Liz realizes that she used to be a bully when she thought that she used to be the victim. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. That's like the first episode, right?
She like goes to her high school reunion.
Someone has told me.
And she thinks that all these popular girls bullied her. But in fact, what happened was that she was so afraid of being bullied that she would like preemptively be like, what's the deal with your mom's pill addiction? Like to the popular girl, whatever. That's like one of the lines, whatever. And I mean, not to say that I was that bad, but I do think it was a form of like self-preservation where like, because you don't want to be the butt of a joke, you then speak out of turn and like make fun of someone or like think you're punching up. But it's like, well, that is still a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. But no, to answer your question, we know exactly who we are and we always know who we've been. And
yeah, all narratives are linear and coherent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, homoeroticism.
Yeah.
I actually think we like randomly got deeper than normal.
I completely agree. I'm trying to think of like, what is the straightest... Oh my God, wait, we haven't even talked about this.
What?
Talk about women and homoeroticism. The epitome of straight homoeroticism is like the dorm poster of two girls making out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly the poster
or
you're
like
talking
the
about.
beer ad where the twins, where it's like, I love twins. Like that sort of, Sabrina, you look...
Well, yeah, I guess I just don't know this dorm poster.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So I think maybe you're like truly like a couple of years younger. But like... People listening know there is a poster. It's a black and white photo of two girls, very sort of like conventionally attractive, thin girls in like underwear and like a tank with no bra.
Exactly.
And they are about to kiss, or maybe in the process.
I think they're making out.
I think they're actively making out. But it's like that is.
It was in like half of all dorm rooms. For like I think a decade.
Yeah, and then of course like it
was like that in the Pulp Fiction poster. Like
that one is still around with the bananas.
Or like about
oh shit.
Or think about the Rolling Stone cover that was Blake Lively and Leighton Meester licking an ice cream cone. Does that ring any bells?
Not as many.
But you can clearly imagine what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's simply just the two of them both licking the same ice cream cone. All I'm saying is like. Men fetishizing lesbianism is the ultimate sort of homoeroticism is straight.
Of course.
That's true. Homoeroticism for straight consumption?
For straight consumption. And then for men, what would it be?
It would be the Abercrombie guys
exactly.
in 2003.
Yeah. Abercrombie guys in 2003 and also soccer players after they win when they all start just like literally fingering each other.
Like, why do they do that?
It's actually insane.
Like, they need to stop.
Talk about queer baiting. We're putting Harry Styles on the cross?
Yeah, put the UK soccer team on blast. Like, what are they doing? Well, I think we should maybe do our final set.
I agree. Any final thoughts on homoeroticism?
No, just thanks. And I can't believe I missed such a huge topic. Like,
oh, yeah.
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 All right.
I'm really excited about the launch of the hat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait for that party.
And we do operate an investment fund, and we're looking for things to invest in, and we especially love queer creators.
I think legally I could not make this hat without you, given that I will use patent magnet technology.
Right. And that was our idea.
Yeah.
From the lab.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Okay.
Will you introduce our final segment?
I would be honored and overjoyed. Our final segment, Sabrina, is called Shoutouts, and in this segment, we pay homage to a classic straight art form called the radio shoutout. Think TRL, think a radio morning show on Z100. We are shouting out to something that is making us say, okay. Sam, do you have one?
Sure. What's up, everyone around the globe? I love you, I see you, and I want to give a quick shout out to riding my bike. I have not been riding my bike as much recently. I blame the pandemic, and then I blame sort of leaving the house less generally. And today I met a friend for lunch, and I rode my bike, just a short little 15-minute bike ride, and I said, this puts me in an incredible mood. I feel my mind is cleared. I feel in touch with the city of New York, and I feel like, yeah, I'm still rough and tumble. I'm still a guy who rides a bike somewhere, and maybe a car will pass me and I'll go, hey, stop it. And I take up space in the road, and I'm happy to do it. I think that's why my ass looks the way it does, because of all those biking years. And I just want to say, I love you, bike riding. You make me feel whole. Woo!
Wow. I think that's why my ass looks the way it looks. What are the hotter statements you've said on this podcast recently?
Yeah, sometimes you got to lean in.
Or lean back.
I'll say.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of one. I know you gave me so much time, and yet I still am coming up blank. This is truly insane. This is the second time this has happened to me this week.
You've got it. I know you've got it.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. What's up, everybody out there? It's your boy George, and sorry for introducing myself as such. We all have flaws. I want to give a shout out respectfully and honorably to my favorite breakfast of choice recently, which is a piece of toast, cottage cheese, pistachios, and then cracked black pepper. I'm telling you, combine this baby with a fresh pot of joe, and you are cooking.
Wow.
And I've already shouted out good culture cottage cheese on this podcast, but at this point it was years ago. So for all our new listeners, go out there, get some good culture cottage cheese, get some bread of your choosing, get some shelled pistachios. I know it seems so glamorous and so expensive, but you have to treat yourself to shelled pistachios. Put a couple of them on. I'm talking no more than 5 to 6. And then, if you don't mind getting messy, sprinkle some olive oil on it. And if you are sort of on the go, just the black pepper will do. And then go about your day. I guarantee you will get that big client, you will land that big meeting, and you will get that job. Why? Because you had a good breakfast. Woo!
I love that you're a breakfast freak.
I'm not like I know that when we were together in LA, famously, I kept having 3 eggs every morning.
You were like so addicted to breakfast.
I know. And I do love making breakfast into an event, but when I'm working, I love just like that sort of small, I'm talking one piece of toast. Like, just like to have a tiny meal to just whet your appetite for lunch and know that in 3 short hours you'll eat again. There's nothing like it.
Wow.
Are you a breakfast person?
I am a breakfast person in the sense that I love when I think that in the morning I'm the most open-minded.
Yes.
And the foods that I do think eggs are gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
you don't like eggs?
I eat them, but they feel very gross.
Yeah,
but I eat them.
And it's just like, I think the morning is a special time to eat. Like, I think, yeah, it must be an enjoyable time to eat because I'm eating the foods I would never eat past the hour of like toast, eggs, yogurt. They're all kind of like
I've been struggling with yogurt so much. Yeah. Like, I just am never in the mood for yogurt. You know what I mean?
Honey, that makes one of us.
Anyway,
Sabrina,
sorry.
whenever
Sabrina,
you're
ready.
feel free to go for it.
Okay, I'm all right. Okay. Hey, Sabrina Woozer. Hi. Okay, oh my God, there's gonna be a soundtrack underneath this too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to shout out. I love all of my followers equally, but there's one fan in particular that I have to shout out. Mostly because actually 2.5 years ago, he said to me, if you ever get on StraightioLab, there is this segment called shoutouts, and it would actually mean the world to me if you shouted me out. He is somebody that I auditioned for many avant-garde plays he directed in college, and he casted me into the ensemble. He's so hot, but sorry, fellas, he's taken, and he's so delightful. A huge fan of the pod. Thomas Peterson, the shout out goes to you.
Woo! Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Thomas.
Wow, unbelievable.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. Do you ever get reminded that people actually listen to this podcast and go, whoa?
Not if I can help it.
I'm like, how the hell did he hear about this?
Wow.
It's crazy. He got everyone that I did plays with in college obsessed with this podcast.
No.
That's actually why I was like, I need to prep for this because people are going to listen. And actually, to be honest, it feels like I'm auditioning again for a play. I feel stressed that he's
Well,
listening.
let me tell you something, Sabrina. You got the role.
You booked.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Well, thanks so much for doing the pod.
I always love ending on a sort of self-congratulatory note.
Yeah. Good job, George.
And good job to you. Well, thank you everyone for listening, especially
and good
Thomas.
job, Sabrina.
And good job, Sabrina.
Great job. And you, okay.
And to you.
Yeah,
Right.
and to
And,
you.
and honestly, great job, Thomas, because you know what Thomas is?
First sheep.
First sheep.
Influencer sheep.
Yes.
What's it called?
Tastemaker sheep.
Tastemaker sheep. That's it.
Tastemaker. Yeah, we have to go, but Tastemaker Sheep is one of the most incredible inventions.
That's the name of the hat company.
Yeah. And my challenge to everyone is spend some time thinking about the sheep framework because it's actually genius. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.